If you think you need a website, a funnel, and everything perfectly built before you can make money in your business, this episode is going to challenge that. Because last year, my guest Allison and I built a $1 million partnership without any of that. So today, we're going to talk about why right now is the best time to build a personal brand business and what people are getting completely wrong about how they're doing it. So I have the most fabulous guest for you today, Allison Lecussier. She's an executive coach. She's a founder, helping women build $1 million businesses with ease, embodiment, and AI in a really sexy way. And she's someone I've had the opportunity to build alongside in a really powerful way. So we're going to talk about how we did this in this episode and how you can do your own version of that if that is speaking to you. Allison, welcome back to the podcast. This is not your first time on. I don't have you been on here? Is it 2 or 3 times now?
I
Maybe.
think it's been 3, maybe 4 over the
Oh
years,
my
so
god.
yeah.
You're right, because you came on years ago, back when it was Instant Impact, which is a long time ago, and we were both at very different people, like, very I love the versions of us then, but wow, that's been a long time. I'm so excited. Welcome to the show. This is gonna be
Thanks for
so good.
having me. It's so fun to think back to all of the quantum leaps that we've had on every single episode, and
Yes.
I mean, what we're talking about today, I feel like is just another quantum leap that we've gone through.
It really is. It really is. And it's continuing to unfold. And I'm excited to record this because I know in a year we're going to come back and record together. And we've also got some things going on where we might be recording together before that, but things will be even more expansive. And you are someone who you started as a private client, you're a certified consultant, and now we lead multiple programs together. You're a contributor to She Sells Magazine. You lead our lifestyle section, which has been so fun. And you really, when I look at what you have done with your life and how you have not transformed because you've always been driven high achiever, but you've really expanded your brand, you've really expanded your impact. Um, I know your heart and your service and your dedication to helping women in particular build $1 million business and aligned in an aligned, sustainable way. So I want to start with this. And I think something I was actually texting you about this, I think this morning. I think one of your superpowers is the ability to look ahead and to see what's coming and to help others take advantage of that, or not in the traditional take advantage sense, but you know what I mean, like to help others be well positioned for the future. So, why do you think, looking at everything you see right now in the marketplace, why is this the best time we've ever had to build a personal brand or thought leadership business?
Yeah, that's such an important question right now, and it's interesting, over the years of being a entrepreneur, over the years of scaling businesses, I've come to realize that business is quite simple. We can get really in the weeds about all of the things that we can build in our business, the systems, the funnels, all of the things, and yet, I think over this past year, you and I have lived and embodied that simplicity in the way of really thinking about what do people need? What do people need? And I think that is the foundation of the gift that I have in the industry, in business, is really just reflecting, getting clear on, and sensing in the world today when we're looking at the needs of humans, how do we meet them? And so today, where we are right now in 2026, April 2nd, we have a very fast changing world. We have a very fast changing world. And 4 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago now, I had a very powerful mentor who came to me and said, Allison, the world is changing, AI is coming. And of course, at that time, I don't think we were feeling what we're feeling right now. It was kind of like clunky. It was not as fun as it is today. But I started to dive into that world and start to really understand and sense like what is changing and how is this changing the landscape of business, the landscape of lives, the landscape of families, of kids, of our brains. And in this world today, we're noticing and seeing that you can create almost anything immediately. Where a few years ago, it would have taken hours to build a website, to build a social media presence, but you can create it immediately. And so the question really is, what are people going to need? They're going to need someone they can trust.
Mm.
And even a year ago, we were talking about how personal brands are being more trusted than corporations. When we look at any corporation, even if it's, what Russell Brunson has, people like his corporations, but they trust him. And
Mhm.
so this is where there's an opportunity right now in the marketplace to really define who you are, how you serve, and what makes you different. Not your organization, not your company, because with the use of AI, with the abilities that AI has, people are going to look to humans. They're going to look to humans for trust. They're going to look to humans for community. They're going to look to humans for connection. They're going to look to humans for guidance. And so we all have gifts that are inherent to us. We all have gifts that maybe we've worked to uncover them, to bring them forward into the world to serve. And there's an opportunity right now in your $1 million business to really define what is your gift? How can you serve? And what do humans need right now? And so a personal brand right now is going to be probably the most trusted place that people go for any kind of service,
Mm.
whether it's coaching, whether it's consulting, whether it's media, whatever that service is, they're going to look for the human element more than ever. And so, a personal brand today, one, is again what the world needs right now, but two, you can make it faster and easier than ever. There's never been a better time to build a business.
Mm.
And AI is the slowest it's ever gonna be, and it's the cheapest it's ever gonna be, and or actually, sorry, it's the slowest it's ever gonna be, it's the most expensive it's ever going to be, and so we know that it's just gonna get easier and easier, and so starting to learn how to do that now is going to be so powerful.
Mm. I think that it's reassuring to a lot of people, and the episode isn't gonna be about AI per se, but that's one of your zones of genius, and that's something that I think is critical to know and understand today, for so many of us, but it's reassuring to hear, probably for many, that people are gonna be looking to humans because there can be a lot of noise out there or fear of, "Okay, am I gonna be replaced? Like, what's my value in the marketplace now?" And I think this has been one of the conversations in our community. To me, the invitation right now is for each of us to do the thing we've been saying we wanna do, but maybe we've been
Yes.
afraid of, right?
Yes.
Maybe you're listening to this and you've been like, "I wanna launch a business," or, "I want to become a speaker." I had someone text me this morning who was like, "I'm feeling the call, like, I'm a mom at home right now with my kids, but I'm feeling the call to be a speaker and to lead a community." And you said this earlier. You said each of us has gifts. And I think that the invitation right now is to really lean into each of our collective gifts and be willing to share those with the collective, with humanity, whether you're a world class baker or coach, consultant, thought leader, financial advisor, but to be unapologetically visible in that, which to your point, that's part of the importance of building a brand because people at the end of the day, they don't buy from companies as much as they buy from people, right? So I want to ask you because I think someone may hear the kind of the hook in this episode or what we talked about at the beginning of we built last year a $1 million partnership without a website, without a funnel. We haven't done any, and we will do those things, but I think we're probably both big on like create the thing, go out
Yeah.
there, sell it, get proof of concept, and then build the back end infrastructure once you know it works. So for someone who's listening is like, wait, you created a $1 million partnership and program with no website, no funnel. What did you do? Why do you think that that worked? Why were we able to do that? Because I think that's important for people to hear who think they need to have it all figured out first before they can go make money.
Oh my gosh, yes. I feel like it's 2 things. One, it's exactly what I said before of looking at what people need. You and I were able to see, like, what do women need right now? And how do we not trip over the things that we think need to happen? And I think this happens a lot with founders, early entrepreneurs, people who are thinking about leaving maybe their corporate job and stepping into their zone of genius, their gift, their business, is they think they need, like, this checklist of things. And truly, you don't. You absolutely don't. You just need to know how to serve. You need to know how to produce something of massive value for someone else. And so what you and I did was we found a way to produce massive value through transformation with this program that we built in multiple different ways. And then the second thing is we knew how to find the people or to speak to the people or to communicate with the people that needed it. So really, it's the ability to provide a service that is super valuable to someone and to find the people that need it and communicate that in a way that allows them to say yes. And so I think we can overcomplicate business. We can overcomplicate service. And one of the questions I ask myself every single day, which honestly I think is why my business has grown so fast, why I've grown so fast, is I really sit in, how do I serve? How do I bring my unique gifts forward to serve the people that are in my life or the people that I want to serve? And how do I do it faster?
Mm.
Because again, like when we are holding ourselves back by not having our messaging or not having like whatever it is, you're really just tripping over yourself to not serve.
Mm.
You're holding yourself back from being able to do that. And again, people pay for value, which is where you provide a lot of value and you do it in a way that resonates with the human beings that you're serving. That's the foundation of business.
Yeah, it's so true, and I love how you simplify it, and I think, from the conversations you and I have both had outside of this podcast, we both, even though we're at a stage where we're both scaling, well beyond 7 figures now, um, there's a feel and a pull within me right now to simplify things, and I think you're feeling that too, and I don't wanna speak for you, but that's my that's my guess for some of our
It's true.
conversations. And at the beginning, if someone is launching or starting something, to hear that you don't need all the things. You need, like you said, a desire to serve, something that will provide value for others and people to provide it to, and that doesn't change, that's timeless.
Mhm.
So I think that perhaps people can get overwhelmed with all the things out there, the bells, the whistles. Do I do this on my social media? What do I need to do on my website? What do I need to do here and there? And they get paralyzed and they think I can't go launch and make money yet. When in reality, it's like 100% you can,
Yeah.
right? I'm curious your perspective because I know in our community and then for our listeners too, there's a lot of women who listen who are in corporate or they're in leadership roles, but they feel that pull to go launch something. Now, I don't think everyone should go become an entrepreneur, needs to go become an entrepreneur unless they want to. And we work with a lot of women in corporate and men in corporate to help them ascend there and make more money there and become more prosperous and to grow and to develop there. So this isn't saying that everyone needs to go become an entrepreneur. And if someone is feeling that pull, I'm curious what you would say to that woman. I just got off a coaching call with one of our mutual clients who recently left corporate and the way she was lit up and she was stepping into her power. It's been so beautiful to watch. But what do you see there for women now who are feeling that pull to step into greater ownership? And what would you say to someone who's maybe watching other women go and launch $1,000,000 businesses and feels like, I want that, but can I really have that? Like, is that really me?
Yeah. The reason why I started my business was I wanted freedom. I just I was in a corporate job that was paying me very well. I loved what I was doing. I felt a lot of impact, and I remember thinking to myself, the only way that I'm going to live the life that I truly desire, that is meant for me specifically, my uniqueness, my desires, my income level, is it's going to come from me starting my own company.
Mm,
And I'm grateful that I got to learn that when I was probably 25 or 26 years old. I just had this realization that if I want to live the life that is perfectly designed for me, I'm going to create it. And I loved my corporate job. I loved it. I cried myself to sleep the night I left it.
mm,
And I say that because I know a lot of women who are in their corporate jobs, they feel a dedication to it. And I think women very often, like, we do things with our whole hearts. And
mm,
I talk to a lot of women that are like, but I love it. Like, I feel so dedicated to this mission, this cause, or, it served me so well. That can be true. And it's not going to bring you in your lifetime to the place that you're meant to be if you're feeling that download now. So as soon as you get the download that I'm meant for more, boom, like we get to trust that. Like it didn't come in by accident. You're
mm,
not thinking these things because you're like for any reason other than it's absolutely meant for you. You would have a different dream if you weren't thinking these things, but if you're thinking, wow, I have a call, I have a pull, I have a feeling, I have a desire to get on stage, to have my own brand, to run my own company, to have my own team, it is meant for you. And
Mm.
so now the next step is really just wrestling with fear. It's just wrestling with fear and identity. Because I remember leaving my corporate job, and in my corporate job, I was an expert. Like, I was in there for 10 years, so I was very comfortable, and I got to wrestle with the identity of who am I inside of entrepreneurship? Who am I inside of my own business, inside of my own life? But what I'll say is taking that step is going to be one of the most spiritual things you've ever done. It's going to be one of the biggest growths that you'll ever have, because when you decide to create something on your own, you must become the person who can facilitate that. And that is one of the biggest like growths. Like I always say, you're gonna love this. I'm gonna say this on the podcast. I always say that your business strips you naked. Like you can't hide from yourself.
It's
You
so
really can't.
true.
You're like,
It's so true.
you're like, oh, have never handled taxes before. I'm gonna learn. I
Yep.
don't like to sell. I'm gonna learn. I don't know how to handle money. Oh, I'm gonna learn. And it allows you to become who you're meant to be. And that's the
Mm.
gift of business. That's the gift of running your own company. And so I agree. I don't think everyone has that calling, and that's okay. But if you do, trust it. It
Yeah.
is one of the most spiritual games that you're gonna play, and it's going to ultimately the gift in it is it's gonna make you become more of who you're meant to be in this lifetime.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Yes. Amen to everything you said. And I think one of the most important things in our lives is to really learn to trust our desires. And to your point, you wouldn't have the desire if it wasn't something that was meant for you. I always use the analogy of like, I'm barely 5'3". I'm not quite 5'3". There's not a bone in my body that wants to go become a WNBA player. Like, that's just not, it has never once appeared in my dreams, in my vision. It's just not going to happen. Like, not meant for me in this lifetime. I'm totally okay with that. But the desires I have for like lifestyle and the different homes I want to buy and being on stages and impacting the world, I think that to your point about the only piece is the wrestling with fear and identity, that really is the edge. And
Yeah.
that's some of what I think that we really, really help people with in this community and in the different programs we do, because it is true that everything in your life, in your business, is just an outpicturing of your identity and your self concept. I want to ask for a minute, because this is something that you've kind of become known for. And I think it's so fun just for women or men or whoever's listening to give themselves permission to start to play with this idea of ease and abundance. So we actually have a program that we co-lead called Ease and Abundance with AI. But I'm curious because I know, just in having known you so long now and worked with you for so long now, you have created a life that maybe a version of you several years ago, maybe even less than that, would have said, "Oh my gosh, can I really do that? Can I really live my dream life?" What does it look to you when you think about ease and abundance in business? What does that look like for you in your life?
Yeah, I love that question. And it's true. I love the life that I get to live today. And it has been so much by design and so much by the uncovering of really more of who I am, and being available to step into the truest, like, most wild, fun version of me. And so for me in my business, like, when I look at my calendar, if I don't love what's on my day, I don't do it. I really don't. I just don't do it anymore. And I build my business around the ability to, for example, I'm going horseback riding at 3 PM today. Yeah, I go to Pilates in the middle of the day. I really allow myself to think like, what would the best day look like for me? And how
Mm,
do I create my life around that? And I remember thinking, like, at first when I was doing this, I was like, how audacious. Like, am I allowed to do this? And I'm like, wait a second. I am. I run this company. I own this company.
yeah.
And so why wouldn't I make this the way that I love? And you ask this question all the time, like, what would you love?
Mm,
And I sat with myself and really thought about that when it comes to my business. And at the time, I was traveling every weekend. I was working like a lot. And in some ways, it was very successful. Like, I was asked to be on a lot of stages. But when I asked myself, like, what would I love? it required me to really tune into the deeper self, the deeper part of
Mhm.
me, to give myself permission to go surfing in the morning or to, horseback ride, to do Pilates, to go for long walks, to be able to coach my clients while I'm walking on a trail outside of my house. So I think that's a huge piece of it is really getting clear on if I'm going to spend my time on this earth in a way that really lights me up, what does that actually look like? And then
Mhm.
giving yourself permission to know that it's possible. And, if I would have heard this maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I'm like, maybe for you." No, it's for everyone. You can do this. And I think the second piece of this is feeling very lit up by what you're doing. So,
Mm.
I tell my partner this all the time. I tell my friends this all the time. I'm obsessed with my job. I love my job, and not in a, like, workaholic, like, anxious kinda way, but genuinely, the work that I do is so meaningful and so impactful to me that I can't wait to iterate. I can't wait to grow. I can't wait to see what's coming next, and so I think it's really understanding, like, what do you love in terms of the value that you bring to other people? And the world feels that. Like, that's a different energy than you're going to sense in, an average day where someone is like totally lit up by their work. They love their job. They love every part of it. And it gives them the lifestyle that is uniquely positioned for who they are.
Ah, oh my gosh, yes. I was just sharing with a client on the coaching call I held before this about putting the energy of love into her business. And that was something that I had never heard of. I used to have fear, resistance, anxiety, all of those things when I was earlier, first in corporate and then entrepreneurship. And things really shifted for me when I thought about putting almost like that maternal energy we put into our, for those of us who are moms or who maybe your sister's mom or whoever, like the energy you put into mothering your children. Like if you put that same love into your business and if you expect good things there, and
Yeah.
if you create something that allows you to operate in your gifts and talents in your zone of genius, it gets to be this kind of continuous upward spiral of things growing, getting better and better. Not that there's not contrast, not that there's not moments of growth. Everything you said before about your business strips you naked, like, yes, we get to have a really beautiful self-development journey in this. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.
No.
Like, I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I want to make sure we speak before we wrap today about the event that we're hosting coming up. So, if you're listening to this in real time, we have an event coming up April 24th and 25th that we're going to take a minute to share with you. If you're not listening to this in real time, we may still have an event coming up. So, message us. I'll give you some contact information at the end where you can reach out to my team. But I would love if you wanted to take a minute and share about this really cool event, Million Dollar Weekend, that we're hosting in Lake Arrowhead, California, April 24th and 25th. First, anyone who wants to come join us.
Yes, we had this download a year ago, I would say, where we were like, we need to host a weekend event where we reverse engineer the $1,000,000 business. And so, what we're going to be doing and teaching in this really powerful weekend is essentially the key components, the mindset work, the identity work, the self-belief work, the strategic work of building your own $1,000,000 business, of building your brand. And this could be for someone who's already started. This could be for someone who's just thinking about it. This weekend is going to be so, so powerful. And it is a full vision board come to life moment for me because we're doing it at our home that we just purchased in Lake Arrowhead. I had a cabin on my vision board. We found it just a month ago. It is perfect. It is gorgeous. And I'm so excited to be able to host incredible women there from all over the country to be able to step into their next level, their next step, their next phase. And I truly just don't think that there's a better time than to be in a room like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And I think for those who are there, think about like for you listening, I want you to think about your vision board coming to life right now. Like whatever is on there, whatever you would love, whether it's something like what Allison spoke about like horseback riding during the week or Pilates or having $1,000,000 business that gives you time freedom and financial freedom. This is going to be a weekend where people's vision boards do come to life, and how cool to get to do it in an energetic environment where it's your vision board come to life too, Because each of us lives this. It's not
Yeah.
something that we talk about. We literally live it, breathe it, eat it, do it every
Yeah.
single day. And I think that's the power of the energy of being in a room like this. It's different to listen to a podcast and say, wow, like I got some really great information from that and I'm thinking differently versus to be in the energy of transformation of those who have done what you're looking to do and are continuing to do it at another level. So we'll link everything in the show notes for you to go get your ticket if you want to come join us. Again, it's April 24th and 25th in Lake Arrowhead, California, which is so beautiful. You can also email my team, assist@elisearcher.com, if you want the link to get tickets. And we're so excited. So, anything in closing that you want to share before we wrap, or anything final on your heart that you think is important to express today to everyone listening?
I would just say being in the power of the room. I have been in your community and in your energy for years now, and truly, I can credit so much of my success, my growth, my ability to trust in my own dreams from being in the room with you, from learning from women who really don't they don't limit themselves in their life. They decide that this is the life that I desire and they go for it. So I think being in this room can be one of the most powerful things that you do this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's a gift to give yourself if this energy is speaking to you and if you want to come really ascend. So we are so excited, so excited to welcome in the most amazing leaders, women into this room. You don't have to have a business yet. You can have one that you want to grow and scale. You don't have to have one. You just need to know you're meant for more and be ready to receive it. So, thank you again. I love you. I adore you. This was so fun. I'm so just proud of you and inspired and lit up by your growth and what you're doing. And it's such an honor to get to do this together. So,
My
massive
honor.
gratitude to you for
Yes.
coming on today. And to you, my listener, as we close, thank you so, so much for being here with Allison and me today. And I just want to remind you to trust yourself on your path to success. Remember that your desires are green lights leading you and everyone around you to a brighter future. I'll see you on our next episode.